There's a popular trope of people waiting in line at the DMV, and kind of reminiscent of, Beetlejuice, where he goes to see his caseworker and he has to take that, line ticket, and he pulls it out and it says like 1,000,075, and then you see on the, now serving board, and it says serving number 3. Listen, waiting in line at the DMV, everybody's got their own stories, but soon that's not going to be the case necessarily. Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias here in Illinois was up in Chicago, where he unveiled a new DMV ATM. But he says it's not going to cost taxpayers. So let's hear all about it. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop here with America's Talking Network. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. So here's the Secretary of State yesterday in Chicago laying out this new program, a pilot program he has, to have ATMs that are going to be servicing things the DMV typically services.
Well, today we're very excited to announce our Fast Lane Kiosks, or ATM DMVs, which allow Illinoisans for the first time ever to skip a trip to the DMV by offering vehicle registration, driver's license renewal, state ID renewals at grocery stores across the entire state of Illinois. It's as easy as stop, shop, scan, and renew, and it all takes about 2 minutes. Customers simply scan the renewal notice or enter their unique code into the kiosk and follow the directions on the touchscreen to complete their transaction. At the end of the transaction, the customer receives their renewal documents.
So it's pretty incredible. He talked more about where this is going to be implemented throughout Illinois, but he said that it's a program that's being used by other states as well.
DMV service kiosks already operate in approximately 20 states, and it's important to note that these kiosks are not funded by the state and do not present any additional costs to Illinois taxpayers. The vendor charges $4.95 per transaction and a credit card processing fee if applicable. This is less expensive and more convenient than renewing at most currency exchanges or emission testing sites where many Illinoisans go to renew their vehicle registration. For the pilot phase, we have partnered with our great friends at Mariano's, Jewel Oscar, Meyer, and Kroger to place 15 Fast Lane kiosks in communities around the state. Our goal ultimately is to get to over 150 kiosks throughout the state of Illinois.
So again, the Secretary of State laying out some of the plans here with this pilot program and how it's going to be further implemented.
Again, we are anticipating that a fully implemented program will involve well over 150 kiosks. For context, Michigan has more than 150 and California has about 250. So to learn more and find your nearest Fast Lane kiosk, I encourage you to visit www.ilsos.gov/kiosks.
And this, is pretty interesting to see it in person. He did give us that run through, a demonstration of sorts. And if you look at the website, you'll see that there's kiosks in Chicago and the suburbs, even in Springfield. And he wants to have upwards to 100 kiosks across the state after they check out how this is being utilized, how many people are using it in certain areas, and so on. But he said it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything. It's going to have a surcharge of close to $5 if you use it. But what about savings? Is it going to provide any savings from saying nobody's going to have to, accept you at the DMV if you're going to be going to this kiosk instead?
Great question. The answer is yes. For folks to be able to come on a Sunday morning and perform a service that they would have had to go to the DMV takes resources that we would have to expand in our facilities, even though they're not necessary during the weekday at our busiest facilities. So the answer is yes. I view this as creating efficiencies, helping reduce foot traffic at our facilities, and just helping the process smoother by offering more options. Additionally, in rural areas in Illinois, where sometimes DMVs are very far away, this allows an individual or a family on their way out of the grocery store to avoid having to drive 30, 45 minutes an hour just to get to a place, park their vehicle, go inside, and get it done if they choose not to use online services.
So clearly, automation, right? There's a concern from some that automation is going to take away jobs, but if that automation is something to make a state program more efficient, is that going to save taxpayers dollars? So we'll see how this plays out, but the timeline of getting even more of these across the states, these kiosks, because you go into a fast food joint now and you see a kiosk there and you order it up. Well, now you're going to be able to do that with the DMV at a kiosk at a grocery store, for instance. But how fast are we going to see this implemented across the state?
Our goal is to let these things give us some data so we can see what services people are requiring, which spots, which locations have more foot traffic. To answer your question, our goal, I think, is in the next couple months to take a look at what's been happening and then start slowly expanding them to other locations, other areas throughout the state based on the data.
So, ATM DMV at a grocery store near you soon, where you can go and renew your license. You can get a license plate sticker, and we'll see what other kinds of programs they implement with that to make it less of time waste, a time tax, as the Secretary of State says, and having to deal with the DMV. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell with us here at America's Talking Network.